Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, depending on where you are. I hope everyone is having a fantastic day. A little bit of winter sun in Scotland. We are now headed deep towards the kind of winter time in the Northern Hemisphere, and it's getting a little bit colder. We do appreciate these nice little days when you get a little bit of sunshine and whatnot. So, without further ado, we're going to go and ride along with chance to be a fine thing with the effervescent Courtney Ryan, who's doing a video about women exposing men for attention and how it needs to stop. And I kind of have a couple of opinions on this myself, so I'll be commenting when appropriate. And without further ado, let's go.
Everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Courtney Ryan, and today we have a TikTok video. I'm not going to say anything. We're going to watch it, we're going to reconvene, and I will tell you all of my thoughts per usual because I have a lot about this one specifically, so let's get into it. So before we start, I want to read you the text that is on the screen because it's kind of small. It says, "Here I am minding my own business until these men in a van drive past and both stare directly at me as they drive past. To some people, just reading that will seem like, what's the big deal? But anyone who's experienced that look will know exactly how I felt." My vision is not great. "It's intimidating and it made me feel so self-conscious."
Okay, so you can imagine this is probably quite egregious. You know, maybe the guy's shouting out the window, or catcalling or something. So let's you'd imagine.
Let's watch it.
Right, first of all, right, when I go to the gym, I see girls wearing these tops all the time that expose their midriff. And I always kind of see it as a bit of a red flag. Like, if I see girls like that in the gym, like, I'll tend to try and avoid where they are. Because the only reason to wear a top like that as opposed to like a t-shirt. Because you can imagine, right, see if you saw a guy getting in the gym, right, and he had his top off and he was like flexing and whatnot, you would know it's because he wanted attention, right? And it would be frowned upon because men aren't allowed to do that. You can't go into topless into the gym, and this is about as close to topless as a woman could get in the gym without, exposing her tats. So for me, this is like the outfit in of itself is kind of almost seems like it's attention seeking. And now I've got a story that happened in the gym just the other week. I'll spin this out for a bit and I'll mention it later.
First off, let me preface this video by saying women are absolutely victims of harassment in society by disgusting men, and it needs to stop. But you are not one of them. But what you are is a narcissist.
Anytime Joey Swole pops up, you know it's going to be good.
Yeah, I do like Joey Swole. He's quite, he seems quite genuine. That said, he's a bit of a one-trick pony. I don't think he has a whole lot of dimensionality to his thinking. But I mean, he's generally on the money with his, his women looking for attention in the gym type hot takes.
I adore Joey Swole. I love his content. I love what he's doing. So yeah, I just want to say that really quick. Like, anytime I see him pop up, I'm like, here we go. Buckle up.
Energy saving bill busters at Curry's. The Hoover H-Wash 600 A-rated 10 kilos.
Okay.
You say this man is staring at you. He's not staring at you. He glances at you for a literal second. You're standing in the middle of the sidewalk, you're stretching, your arms are in the air, you have an entire film production set up, and he glances at you.
This is the thing, isn't it? This is like a hustle now, this being harassed on video type of stuff. And women are setting up their camera set up, right, and then going and doing these poses where, maybe they are pressing their breasts out or whatever, looking provocative, hoping to pick up something like this. So it's become like a hustle for TikTok likes and views, and it's extremely dysfunctional.
As he drives by, you're in his peripheral. It's called situational awareness. And then you post this screenshot to prove that he's staring at you. But what I find funny is you don't post the screenshot from a literal second later where he's not looking at you, but you are still looking at him. He doesn't say anything to you. He doesn't yell at you. He doesn't even slow down. And then you post this to say that he's a coward, that he's trying to intimidate you, and there's no consequences for men.
The little text that she posted says, "They had no idea I was filming, and it made me consider all the times this has happened in my life and to most women, and how different it would be if they knew people were watching. I will never understand why men do this in cars, in vans, but I think it's so cowardly, intentionally intimidating someone, knowing you can just drive off."
Like these guys they're totally correct. They're saying, right, the things about the situational awareness. Obviously, you have to be doing that. You have to watch. Because potentially, this lady could walk out in front of you. You could hit her with a car. You're supposed to not look at her, and the off chance that you hit her with a car. And even let's suppose that wasn't the reason the guy was looking. This lady was clearly, looking, trying to get someone to look at her and get their attention. So. Yeah, I mean it's absurd all round, and it's like I find these types of videos and this hustle that these girls have is quite concerning. Like I say, I wouldn't go near a group of women. Like, if it's just a regular woman, wearing like gym clothes and like I wouldn't think twice. I wouldn't even bat an eyelid. But when I see these girls and they're kind of like exposing their midriff, the only reason to do that is because they want attention, I think. So I would tend to stay away from them. You don't want to be caught in one of these videos and then potentially exposed on the internet. And I think, I can't remember who was talking about this, but see if somebody was to come out of a men's only gym, I think that they could end up doing quite well, because this stuff is, a lot of men are beginning to get concerned about it. Just an innocuous glance turns into a million TikTok views or something like that.
Off and pay no consequences. It shouldn't matter what you're wearing, what you're doing, whether you're with someone or alone. You should be able to feel safe to go about your life. He literally just glanced in your direction for 1 second. Oh my gosh. Okay, anyway.
And there's no consequences for men. I'm here to tell you there are consequences. You posted this man's face in his work truck. What if he loses his job? What if he can't support his family? What if he can't put food on the table? All because you want to feel like a victim on social media to get attention. And you know what the worst part of this is? This video is a slap in the face to women that truly are victims.
Yep.
You need to do better.
I don't think that Joey Swoll realises that we live in this absurd clown world timeline in which these fembot women are essentially soulless demons who will sell their granny for likes and shares on TikTok.
Mind your own business.
Oh, I just love him. I had reacted to some videos that were similar to this a while ago, but this was all happening in the gym. And this is, what he mostly reacts to is things that happen in the gym. But now, girls are just on the sidewalk, getting a snapshot of a guy looking at her for a millisecond and making it into some big...
It's a pity, because I think a lot of people used to kind of see the gym as somewhere where you could potentially go to meet a woman or a man, depending on your gender. But for men, it's the juice is not worth the squeeze any longer, and it's not an environment where you would try and, obviously, if you met someone and there was a long period of time had passed, but you would never approach a woman. I don't think anyone with any sense would ever approach a woman in the gym that they hadn't spoken to before, in order to, try and build some sort of relationship or ask her out or whatever. I was in the gym just a couple of weeks ago, and there was a small lady who was trying to lift up a dumbbell that was about 2 times her size, and she was really struggling just to get it moved from the weight rack. And I heard her struggling, and I didn't do anything, because it felt like it seemed to me like it was obvious that she was looking for someone to come along and help her. And I'm just like, for me, there's no upside for men to do things like that, like chivalrous things, to go and help a lady out, to lift a weight or whatever. But it's all downside.
Clout fest. I try to be as respectful and as graceful as possible when I do
Sorry if you hear my dog in the background, he's running around with a Lucozade bottle.
reactions like this. But I think if you are someone who stretches this far to make something out of nothing, to post this for clout and clicks and views and likes and desperately want this attention, there is something wrong with you.
I would caveat that by saying there is something wrong with the culture. This culture is completely broken. This clown world timeline culture that we find ourselves mired in is completely broken. And these women, and women have traditionally always followed the culture. So basically they're just, you know, being drip fed this toxic narcissist culture from social media, mainstream media, all the medias, and I'm just going along with it. So I mean, this kind of stuff is basically a symptom of the problem as opposed to a root cause.
There is something wrong with you. And my question is, how are girls like this not embarrassed? I know people have no shame or no judgment these days, but that was so embarrassing. You know, you're on the sidewalk, stretching with your arms up. It's normal for someone who is driving on the road to look at people who are on the sides of the road to make sure that they don't hit you, first of all, but also because that's what you're
Right. I'm not going to look at someone who's exposing her breasts on the sidewalk because I'm scared. You know, I'm just going to drive over the top of her just in case I accidentally look at her, you know, scantily clad outfit.
taught to do in driver's ed. Always look in your peripheral on the sides so you can make sure no kids are going to run across the street or anything like that. He glanced her direction for half a second and she makes a video online.
Literally, I see when you get trained in driving a van, they literally tell you to watch people who are on the sidewalk, whatever, who are pointing in your direction, as they will, you know, could potentially become a hazard. So you have to check that. You know, otherwise, it's actually redundant to be talking about stuff like this because it's so absurd that it's difficult to get your head around.
Saying he was intimidating her and staring at her and harassing her and whatever else she said. Are we serious? You weren't safe in the gym, now you're not safe on the sidewalk? It would be different if he, you know, yelled something incredibly inappropriate out of the window or catcalled or did something, but he didn't do anything. But I do not understand why we've gotten so comfortable posting things like this online. I think some people are just so desperate for attention that they go out of their way to make someone look bad who actually didn't even do anything.
Collateral damage. I mean, those YouTube videos are not going to like themselves. Like, as far as these women are concerned, that these people are, because we know that most women, you know, don't see a man driving a van as a man. They see them as just as the guy who, like the robot that delivers their stuff. And, you know, they're completely invisible to these women except as vessels for their YouTube clout or TikTok clout.
And as Joey said, it does take away from the women who have actually experienced harassment.
Do you think anyone doing this kind of stuff has enough depth to move the chess pieces in their mind sufficient moves ahead to actually realise that is the case? These people are not the brightest stars in the galaxy and cannot think beyond their next dopamine hit from TikTok.
And another thing that's interesting to me that I mentioned in one of the gym video reactions that I did long ago was you're so uncomfortable with someone staring at you, not even staring, just glancing at you in public, but you post a video online for thousands, millions of people to see. The math ain't mathin'. There's no logic there.
I'll give Courtney her due. She's good in this one. This is a nice take.
Also, you posted your butt. Couldn't even see her face in half the video. It's just her butt in the camera. Like, if you're comfortable doing that, why are you upset if someone glances your direction? Are men not allowed to look at you? Do they need to have the little horse things on that horses wear when they're walking on the sidewalk to make sure that they don't accidentally look at you? This is absurd. And I'll also say, from a woman's perspective, I think we do have to be more aware of our surroundings and a little more cautious and just really think about our safety in public. You know, there is a safety element that I think women have to worry about, but this is just taking it to a level that does not exist and creating something out of nothing. And honestly just made her look so bad. And then what I also don't understand, are women not seeing...
Interesting, I'll need to maybe go and have a look at, see what the reactions and the... Because the thing is, the dopamine hit comes from people going, oh, you go girl, you know, poor you, you know, I feel so terrible for you, all the likes and like the comments coming in on the TikTok video. So at least maybe go and have a look at one of these videos and actually see what the comments are. Because I would be willing to wager that most of them are reinforcing this lady's delusion.
The reactions to these videos, or the fact that everyone in the comments is calling you out for being a clout chaser, and it's so evident that you just want attention. Are women this desperate for attention? It's deeply concerning. I think it shows a huge issue that's going on in our society. And I'll also say this, I am not one to use the narcissism label a lot, okay? I don't often say the word narcissist because I think it's often overused.
Yeah, she's absolutely correct there. Like, there isn't a single woman out there who's ever ended a relationship these days who will not call their ex-partner a narcissist without usually not even knowing what the word means. Narcissist and misogynist are two of the hardest words to spell in the English language, except unless you are a fembot, in which case they are the two most commonly used words in the English language.
And people are misdiagnosed and things like that, but you want an example of a narcissist? It's posting a video online because someone glanced at you and you think that they are intimidating, trying to intimidate you, and they're obsessed with you. Because a part of me is like, how are you not embarrassed posting this? But then another part of me is like, oh, but maybe...
In a sense, like a lot of these modern women are narcissists, and they assume the only reason that anyone would give them any attention is because they want to sleep with them. And maybe that is something to do with the psychology of being on this this sexual carousel, so to speak. You know, because their only association of men is just objects that want to have sex with them. So if you talk to them, like you walk, we've seen videos as well before where somebody's in the car park and everyone says, oh hey lady or whatever, and you know, they start shouting at them, telling them to go away and all that kind of stuff. But it could just be something as innocuous as your tyres flat or something. And it could be maybe something I might need to flesh out in my mind a little bit more, but it seems like there's a causal link between women who are being constantly used by these chads for sex and assuming that any male attention is related to sex. I mean, any male attention as in, you know, watch the manhole, don't fall into it, is assumed that it must be some kind of sexual approach. Yeah, there's some kind of psychological relationship there, I think.
Maybe she really thinks that that guy was harassing her, which is so more concerning than her feeling embarrassed.
Yeah, because I mean, it's interesting because these women are products of this culture, right? And they're all getting spat out with 100, 200 body counts, you know, by the time they're in their 20s. So they may believe that any attention they get is linked from the male gender, is linked to sexual attention, because that's all they know men for. So yeah, that's some interesting subtext there, Courtney. I like that.
You know, men do have eyeballs. They do have peripheral vision. They do have a neck where they can turn and look different ways. A man might look at you. Anyway, I'm getting a little petty at this point, so I should end the video here, but really I just wanted to...
No, but she's hitting upon some important points here. Like, is this where the culture is headed? we're going to have essentially the entire population of females is going to be damaged, emotionally damaged. Emotional damage! And we're going to have to walk around on eggshells and endeavour as men not to ever make eye contact or even glance in the direction of these women, because they're so emotionally damaged that even an innocuous glance or trying to get their attention for some banal purpose is going to be construed as sexual attention. This is the dystopia we're headed towards and rapidly arriving at.
Say, it was one thing when this was happening in the gym. It was ridiculous then. It's ridiculous now. I think it's disgusting that we've reached this point where we are trying to ruin a man's livelihood and likeness and blast someone on the internet who did absolutely nothing to you besides glance your direction for half a second because you are so depraved for attention and clout and likes and clicks. Do better, as Joey Swole said, and understand that this does take away from the actual people who deal with harassment and actual victims. Because there are actual victims, let's be real, but there are a lot of women and men who have dealt with harassment, stalking, and all kinds of other things that videos like this really water down. Anyway, I'm ranting. That's all I have for this video. If you liked it or found it helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to be...
Yeah, it was a nice take from Courtney. Sometimes I've felt in the past that this seems like a bit of a grift for her, but I think she does make some good quality content. Please like and subscribe to Courtney as well as myself. I'll be doing lots more commentary and vids that are compilations of independent women, manosphere type content. And have a great rest of your weekends. Please like and subscribe, do the things, and I'll call it there. Cheers.